Hey there, comic fans. How you doing? Bullseye
Hey
Bob here.
everyone.
And as you can see, I have a really good friend with me. I have Damien, Sleepy Reader 666. How you doing there, Damien?
Hey, Bullseye Bob. I am so glad to be here and glad to see you almost in the flesh.
Come on, almost in the flesh, exactly.
No
And
coffee.
yeah, right.
No refuge coffee house around us, but
Oh man, I so miss that place.
yeah.
I can't wait till this whole thing is over and we can actually get back together face to face there. And so, but this is an impromptu. Well, it's not impromptu. We pretty much scheduled it. I know that the title of this was the Tuesday night hangout, and last night when we had to postpone till tonight, I didn't change the title, so it
Right.
still says Tuesday night hangout.
The life gets in the way hangout.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But cool, we made it. So that's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely, absolutely. I don't know about you, but I've been climbing the walls with boredom and trying to find things to do, and then at other times not having any motivation to do anything.
Yeah, that kind of creeps in after a while. You become more and more sluggish because the less you do, the less you have the will to do things in a way.
Yeah, it is.
It's
That's kind
sad.
of funny how that happens. But I, before the whole COVID-19 thing hit, I had started to make the rounds back through and started inviting the Portland comic crew to be on the Coffee and Comic show with me. And I got Bueller, and then I got Sam,
Right. And I was going to be next.
you were going to be next, and then this all hit. And so I figured, well, we can still do a hangout. We can still hang out and talk about comics. So
and
here we are.
It is New Comic Book Day, right?
It is New Comic Book Day, isn't it?
I haven't even checked Comixology. I did check them the first week or two, and I bought a few kind of odd, super indie comics there. But I haven't even had talk about the sluggishness. I've been not had the will. I bought a ton of comics online and other stuff, thinking I had a ton of time to read. But because I'm at home with my daughter, who has nothing to do and nowhere to go, I do a lot more stuff with her. So I have a little less reading time than I thought, although I am still reading comics, of course.
Right. I hear you. So really quick, before we get into conversation, we got a few people that are in the chat. I want to acknowledge them. So it looks like we got that old comic smell. How you doing? We got Sam from Sam's Tangled Web. How you doing there, Sam? We got part of the Portland Comics crew in the house. Let's see. We got Shane Lorison. How you doing there, Shane? And of course, Damien himself is already hit up in the chat. We got Nova 69 there. William Smallwood. How's it going, William? We got Jay Willie, Sam Fett. How you doing there, Sam? And man, thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate you guys joining us. And then we got Bueller just showed up. How you doing there, Mike?
Hey, congratulations on hitting the 10,000 mark. That just blows my mind.
Yes, that is such a milestone, and you deserve it, buddy.
In roughly 2 years, I think.
Yeah. And then our good friend Gore Vidal is here.
Hey, Gore.
Gore and Hermione. Well, thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys tuning in. But here we are. I mean, it's Wednesday night, and I figure it was a good time to finally catch up with my buddy Damien. How you doing? So I mean, it's been just about 40 days now that Portland has been on quarantine.
Wow.
And
yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, it's been exact. I think today is 40 days. But in the midst of all this, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good at being at home and chilling. I go for a lot of long walks to try to get exercise. I of course go in deserted places where I won't be making people worried that I'm spreading germs at them.
Sure.
And as I said, spending a lot of time with my daughter, kind of trying to be a homeschool type situation. We get some help from her middle school, but not really enough to fill the day at all. So we do a lot of projects together. We've been tracing comics. Like I traced some Jack Kirby and she traced some Amethyst, and making up imaginary comic book covers. She has an imaginary comic book series about a K-pop band, that kind of thing.
Very cool.
So it's
I
fun,
noticed.
but we're also going a little stir crazy.
Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, the other cool thing we did is we bought online a hoverboard for her. You know those things where they just
Yeah.
balance on them? It's kind of like a Segway. So she really loves that. And then we got 2 scooters, and she and I scoot around the neighborhood together.
Sweet. That's got to be a lot of fun.
Yes, I really like going around on that scooter.
Well, I have never met your daughter, and I've never actually seen her before until the other night. I noticed that you did a video and she was on there with you.
Yeah. She used to do, well, on and off over the years, she's done videos with me. I'm coming up on my 8th anniversary on YouTube next
Wow.
Tuesday. So I'm
Milestone.
going to do some kind of video with that, probably with her then.
Nice.
And she first showed up on my channel when she was about 4 years old. And now she's 11.
Nice.
So kind of a record of her growing up sometimes if you look back at the right videos.
For sure. Yeah. And and how many subscribers do you have now?
I think I'm up at about 1,700.
Nice.
I leveled out a long time ago.
Did you?
After I got up over 1,000, it leveled out, which is fine by me. I mean,
I hear you.
I'm on here just to have fun and chat with people who want to chat. I'm not worried about. I'm not a professional like Bueller. He's my favorite of the big channels, but I'm not aiming for that.
He's definitely been putting out some great. He's definitely found a way to put out some good content during this shutdown, and I really appreciate able to at least turn the TV on and get to see my buddy. So it's been good stuff. And so speaking about that,
so what have you been up to? I'm sorry, I should have.
Oh, sure. I'll get into that in just a second. I just want to say, if you're new to the channel and you're just popping in, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you would. It really helps out the channel. And also, if you are not a subscriber to Damien's channel, go check him out on Sleepy Reader 666. He does a lot of great reviews and puts out a lot of great comic book content over there. And go check him out and show him some love and give him some subscriptions over there as well. And then we do have a few more people who have popped into the chat. We got Jay Willie. How you doing there, Jay? We got Jack Yo has joined.
Hey, Jack.
And we got Kirby. How you doing there, Kirby? And really thank you guys all for joining. And we got Chaos and Comics as well. How's it going, my man?
Hey, Chris.
And I mean, since this has begun, it's been, same with me. I'm climbing walls. It's been extremely, it's been boring. There's a piece that I really enjoy and like. I like working from home. I'm one of the fortunate ones that has the ability to work from home. I'm wearing pajamas half the week. That's there's of that. I feel I'm more productive in my home environment. I'm much more love, and I enjoy that. I really like that. But that I don't like is not being able to go out and do social gatherings. Like with I never realized how much I would miss my church family as much this period. I didn't think I didn't realize how much I would miss just being able to get together with you guys and just going to a coffee shop and have ability taken away. It kind of does something to you, and it does something anyway. On an emotional level. And there's only so much reading of comic books, watching of movies, playing of video games, that you can do, to kind of pass time. And I'm ready to get out there and socialize with some of my friends now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I suspect you're an even more social person than I am, but being with other people kind of feeds the brain or the soul or what have you, and just makes you feel like a more complete person or something.
Yeah. Exactly. We got a comment here that's kind of funny. Bueller says he's never seen me in I just wanted to put that out there.
He's worried people might think he has.
Right. I just want to let you know, besides the hat, I'm in my pajamas now. I wear t-shirts and basketball shorts, and there you have it.
I am actually wearing pants for anyone who wants to know.
All right. But it's in I don't want to say it's been hard. I mean, just that aspect of it. But there's some aspects of it I've really enjoyed. But it does kind of wear on you. One of the things that happened about a week or two ago, I ended up getting sick. I didn't realize, what that would do to me. I started getting scared that I actually had it because I had, fever, body aches really bad. And I'm thinking, oh man, here we go. And it turned out that I didn't. So I was very grateful for that. But it's amazing how much fear can come up when you start to get sick in the midst of something like this,
Yeah, I think I've had that corona paranoia about twice with little colds and stuff. Yeah, it's like, uh-oh.
For sure. And so I know that we've gotten a few different announcements in the news that some things are starting to loosen up, and I'm ready for it. How about you?
Yes, I am. I have a feeling it's going to be slower in Oregon than in some states.
I get that feeling too.
They're more cautious here. In some states, they're more. Some states are more concerned about health. Some states are more concerned about business. Yeah, we actually have a very low rate here in Oregon. I was looking at a chart, and we were one of the lowest, but we're between two of the worst states, I guess, which is a reason to be nervous.
Exactly, But the fact of the matter is, there are some people who are going to tout that no matter how quickly you open up, there's going to be a side to this where people say it's too fast, and there's always a side that's going to say it's too slow.
That's very true. Yeah. And even if you open up, there's going to be some people who will still sort of shelter in place, and some who will start going out. I kind of fall in the middle. I don't like being just completely shut in, and I don't like being totally afraid all the time. Life, it just has some risks, but of course I can't visit my elderly mother, who's very afraid, or my mother-in-law and that kind of thing. The other thing is the schools have been permanently shut down for the year. Yeah. So we used to have hope that my daughter would be able to go back to school, but even if we can go outside and do things, we will have no structure in her life until September. Right. Which is a weird feeling.
Sure it is. Well, I hope that, things do progress in the way that they're supposed to, and that we can all get together soon. Yeah. Because it's, like I said, not being able to gather with my church family, I never thought that I'd miss that as much as I have. Not being able to get together with my Portland comic crew knuckleheads has, wore on me. And, but another thing that's kind of wore is we haven't had a real new comic book day in a month now. And yes, I never thought I would miss that as much as I have. That's been crazy how much I've missed that.
And have you been following all the online stuff about the different plans for distribution and stuff? I guess DC made a big announcement a little while ago.
Yes, I've been watching it as it unfolds. As it unfolds, you get the odd article that's put out there, which causes a ruckus, and then of course the next day another article comes out which completely squashes that. And so I've kind of been riding the roller coaster on it. But yeah, I have been watching. I'm up to date on what's been going on right now. This thing with DC moving forward, I think it's one of the healthiest things that I've seen. I think it's going to be good for the industry, whether it's something that moves forward as a permanent thing or not. I think that it's a good thing for Diamond to realize that, that at any second, they could not be the sole provider of comics, which I thought was a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not anti-Diamond, but I do feel Diamond needs a competitor.
For sure.
A sense that they are not the sole source and can just treat everybody however they want.
Yeah.
And it'll be good for their business too, to sharpen them up.
Yeah, absolutely. With the announcement coming that DC was going to move forward, it was very, very quickly after that Diamond came out. Because you had DC announced that they were going to be doing new comics on April 27th, and up until that point, it seemed like Diamond was going to be waiting and possibly until August. And
Right.
then right on the heels of DC announcing that, they're like, wait a minute, we're going to do it in May. So I think it did move things, along a little quicker, which I'm glad of. But I definitely think that Diamond responded to DC very quickly.
Yes. They're probably having a lot of meetings over at Diamond and trying to figure out their next move. So are they definitely going to put some comics out next week then?
On the 27th, I mean,
I think the 27th is next week. Today's the 22nd.
Yeah, so then it's supposed to be next week. They had put a list of comics out that you could order, and half of them are reprints. That were the Batman stuff. But
I'm still waiting on Batman '89. Never got my copy.
I think Daphne Byrne is one of those comics. And and there were a couple other things. It's kind of a very slow thing, and then they have some that they've advertised for the week after that, and so it's kind of a slow ramp up. But yeah, I mean, it's supposed to start next week. They'll be shipping.
I'm wondering if my comic book shop even knows about this. I haven't heard from them or him because it's just a one-man operation.
Yeah. I think I saw Tifa advertise that if you wanted any of those comics, you could send them an email and let them know. So I think if I remember right, Tifa is aware of it.
Right. Well, Tifa I would expect to be, but
sure.
Because as Bob knows, but not everyone knows, I go to a very small little comic book shop, and the guy there probably knows less about current comics than I do. He's more a back issue kind of person, and he gives me a great discount and is always very honest with me, so I like him. But he does sometimes need to be told by me what's going on. So
yeah,
maybe I should look into that.
Really quick, I just wanted to acknowledge something. We got Comic Crack has come into the chat, and then for the first time gracing us, Super Dave. Dave Ungert is in the chat. He has joined us. How you doing there, Super Dave? Thank you for joining, man. Dave's a really good friend of mine, and one that actually started the channel with me in the very beginning.
Oh, that guy. I remember seeing you on your early videos. You did it more podcast style then.
Exactly, because that's what we were thinking of moving forward with, was definitely a podcast. And so great to have you here, Super Dave.
Does Dave live in the Portland area?
Yeah, he does. He's actually on staff at the same church that I go to. Okay. So we've been friends for a long time, and so it's good to have him here. It's pretty cool. So with moving forward, I know that this is going to progress slowly. The thing that I think has kind of been sitting in the back of my mind for the last week or so is Marvel has been actually pretty quiet about all this. They have, yeah. We've heard from DC. Todd McFarlane, has put out his stance on the whole thing, and what he would like to see done. And so we've got at least something from Image. But we really haven't heard anything from Marvel about what they're going to do or what they'd like to see done, or if they're just going to sit and wait it out. It just kind of bothers me that we haven't heard anything from them. And
they're the big dog. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Of everyone, what they do matters the most.
Right. And I, if anything, I would have expected them to take the stance and stand up and say, no, we're not going to wait for Diamond. We're going to move forward, just like DC did.
Yeah.
And they've been eerily quiet.
Well, the one thing I wondered when all this started is I wondered if Marvel was looking to push people towards Marvel Unlimited, because they added all these special Marvel Unlimited deals right when the shutdown happened.
That's true.
I mean, DC has a similar service, but Marvel's is much better. So I don't know if they were looking at that as an opportunity to increase the Marvel Unlimited subscriber base or something.
Sure. I mean, that's actually a good observation. You know, they've actually advertised a whole heck of a lot of stuff that wasn't previously available on the Marvel Unlimited app, but it doesn't seem like they had any type of marketing that really pushed it in the direction like you're saying, like, you know, this is going to be the premiere going forward. And so it's kind of weird. I don't know what they're doing or what they're thinking.
True.
You know.
And I hear that I did read somewhere they were going to use the time to get a lot of their artists caught up, because, you know, at Marvel, as we've noticed, they put out comics so fast that, you know, the artists often seem very rushed.
Sure.
So on that end, I was viewing it as kind of a good thing. Maybe we would see some better art from some of those Marvel
for sure.
comics.
There's been some stuff in the recent months that looked like it was just unfinished.
Yeah.
You know, and they just pushed it out. So, but so speaking of the Marvel Unlimited app, that brings us to digital. How much digital reading have you been doing since we've gone into quarantine?
Well, I still have a lot of physical books to read, but I have done some digital. I have been using Hoopla, you know, that library app that we've talked about before, and I've been reading comics with my daughter on Marvel Unlimited, like Squirrel Girl and what was it called? Not Brand Ek, the old Not Brand Ek. Nice. And they recently did like I think it was a one-shot Crazy, where they did a color comic that was supposedly their old comic Crazy, and I read that. My daughter loves the humorous side of it. She knows Marvel through making fun of it. Like, so she loves those kinds of things. So we read those at bedtime and stuff.
Right.
But other than that, I've been more digging into a lot of my all these omnibuses and trades that I've been building up. So I don't know if I can throw that out there. Did you want to talk about what digital you've been digging into?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, we can go back and forth with it. Why don't you go ahead and show what you've been reading?
Okay. Well, so I just recently read this hardback of Neil Adams' run on X-Men.
Oh, nice.
And I did a little podcast about it a few days ago with my podcast partner, Matt. Mm-hmm. And that led me to pull out my Uncanny X-Men Omnibus, the new X-Men, and start reading that. So I'm reading one a day because, you know, they were written to be read monthly. Right. And it has a better impact if you give it a little time to breathe between issues. So I've just started that as my project of one X-Men a day, you know, starting from that Len Wein giant size issue and going on to the Chris Claremont run. Right. So it's kind of fun. And because I'm not being bombarded with new comics, I can sort of focus on these things that I was thinking of doing before. And also I've started reading Emerald Dawn from about 1989. Yeah. And we're actually going to do a podcast on this eventually. Sweet. So this was, I guess, kind of a reboot of Hal Jordan back in around 1989. That's interesting. Yeah, I remember that. So how about you? What have you been doing? Okay, so I've been reading a lot of digital. I completed just every issue of Ice Cream Man. Finally I got all through those, which was nice. Amazing. I don't know if you have seen it, but the writer of Ice Cream Man has been putting out through a website called Quarantine Comics. He's been putting out little 4 and 5 page issues of Ice Cream Man that will never go to print. But it's something that you can put a couple bucks down on and at least get something. And the money that from it is going towards a good cause. Have you tried that yet? Yeah. I was thinking about it, but I haven't pulled the trigger. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get like a really in-depth comic, but there's a couple of cool things that he's done. It's been, I think, has been really, really interesting, and I've really enjoyed it. So I would say it's definitely worth it, especially if you're jonesing for some Ice Cream Man, which I definitely am. Yeah. So I think I was resisting because it sounded like it was like 4 pages for $2 or something like that.
Yeah, and
so I have to keep in mind it's for charity and that kind of thing.
Right, and that's the only reason why I went forward with it. Just really quick before I get into the rest of the stuff I'm doing digitally, I just wanted to acknowledge a few things. Bueller says that your comic shop might be the only one that is happy because he doesn't have to go to work.
He's actually quite the workaholic, so he's there working every day anyway.
I hear that.
Bueller has a skewed view of my comic shop guy. I mean, I understand why he does have that view, but I have a different view.
Understood. We got Nick from YC Comics here. How you doing there, Nick? And he said that who cares what Marvel's doing as long as we can get some DC. That old comic smell says, I think digital gives. I think go digital and give the shops a cut, or else digital and you get the physical copy later and the LCS gets a cut. Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that model.
There was a company that tried that, but none of the retailers wanted to work with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was a good idea. I think it's a very good idea.
I think it's a great idea, but I think the company that was wanting them to do it, I think people were very reluctant to work with them, especially since it's a brand new model. Bueller's actually done a few videos on it, and I tend to agree with them, especially the way that they were touted, because in the end, who's to stop them from cutting out the actual LCS? Right. Once they have all the information. Right. So we got Jack Yo. He said that your podcast is the Never Stay Dead podcast.
That is what it's called, Never Stay Dead. Yes.
And Chaos and Comics, Damien's podcast is really good, guys. If you're talking about comics, I would agree.
Thank you very much.
I really, because I used to, like, it's been like a long time ago. I liked using your podcast for my drive in and out of work. I'd listen to half of it on the way in and then half of it on the way home, and that way I could get in. I liked, pulling up in chunks like that. But I've always enjoyed your podcast.
Thank you very much.
For sure. Gore says, does Sam enjoy Justice League as much as I love Saga, Chaos and Comics? Yeah, I'd love to see Sam on Justice.
It's a running joke now that how much Gore does not like Saga when everyone else does.
That's for sure. But, Sam being in the chat, everybody make sure you wish Sam a happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Sam. I have a couple presents I plan to give you when I see you.
Awesome.
I owe you for all those birthdays you've had since we last saw you.
But so yeah, I read some Ice Cream Man. I tell you what, I just got done reading is after the online discussion that I had with Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, realized I had a huge hole in my Doctor Doom lore. And of course, you know how much I love Doctor Doom. And, I've never read the Hickman Secret War stuff. And so I started talking to him about that. And he said, if you want to get the full effect, you should go back and start with Hickman's run on Fantastic Four, run it through Avengers and Young Avengers before you actually read Secret War. And so
that's a lot to read.
It is. Well, about a week ago, I dove into the Fantastic Four, and I got to tell you, this is the first time in a long time that I actually really enjoyed the Fantastic Four. That's a phenomenal run.
That is like the great modern Fantastic Four run.
Absolutely. I
think it's still my favorite Hickman Marvel work.
I've been very surprised that there's no graphs and language and fonts and all kinds of stuff to go along with it for the background stuff. But
yeah, I guess that came later.
Really well done. You're a bunch of moments that really surprised me. I've loved the artwork, but the writing on it is just so well done. And so I think just this morning I finally got done with all of both the Fantastic Four and the Future Foundation, so I'm done with that, and I'm ready to hop into the Avenger stuff. But there's a part of that I'm reluctant to do because there is some new universe characters in there. and I kind of threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Oh, that's probably the best part of it.
Oh, is that right? As soon as I saw Starbrand, I got pictures of Sam going, "Yeah, Bob."
I'm with Sam on the new universe. But I found his Avengers run a big disappointment after the Fantastic Four for me personally. I know a lot of other people loved it, but so I didn't read all of that. But then I jumped back in on the Secret Wars event and really enjoyed it. And I usually don't like events, so I thought that was a good one.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know that there's a part of that run that I have already read. Like I've already read the whole Original Sin, and that happens right in the middle there.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a part of it that I've already read. So I'll probably be able to get through that a lot quicker than I did the Fantastic Four stuff. But I really, really enjoyed that. The whole Council of Reeds and the Parliament of Doom, I thought was a great concept. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. And I know that Doom becomes Emperor God Doom, which I'm looking forward to. So, but that was one thing. I'll tell you another. This wasn't digital, but this is one of the things that I finally got to get into reading. I read the 12 issues of Brubaker's last run on Criminal.
And did you enjoy it as much as I was hoping you would?
Oh my gosh, I freaking loved it. It was, I mean, so well done. You know, I am a firm believer now that Ed Brubaker has gone through some stuff in his life, because there's some things that he did that unless you've gone through those things and have been in those particular areas in your life in some form or another, I don't think you'd be able to capture it the way that he's done. And he's really captured the essence of that underworld in a way that I don't think you could unless you'd been there. And so that part really intrigued me. Sean Phillips, the artwork by Sean, I wish that this guy had hopped on Daredevil with Brubaker. I mean, I love Michael Art, but I think he would have been phenomenal in it. I have been loving the artwork. I don't know who does the colors. They don't really talk about
Sean Phillips' son, Jacob Phillips, does
Jacob Phillips. Okay. The colors are amazing, you know, because it's not something that I would normally look at and say, oh, those are bright, vibrant colors. But the way that they've set the mood in a lot of these scenes, it's just so well done. And, you know, when I got to the last issue and I was so mad that it was over. Now I can go back and read the rest of them, which I'm going to do because I can do that digitally. But this has been just an absolute gem to go through. One of the things that happened while I was reading this is Sean Phillips and what's her name? I can't think of what her name is. Oh, Kim Morgan.
Oh, the movie reviewer. Okay.
Yeah. And so at the end of every issue, they go back and kind of do a review of an old movie, and Sean Phillips does some artwork for it. And in the second issue, they did a review of one of my favorite movies of all time, and that's Angels with Dirty Faces.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that one.
It's a phenomenal movie, and it has a very special place in my heart because that's one that I stayed home from school to take care of my mom when she was sick, and we watched it together. And it was one of the first movies that ever made me cry. And I got to the end of this page, and the artwork that he does here captures Cagney in that movie perfectly. It's so well done. And I noticed on the next page, there's the Humphrey Bogart that he did. So I went to Sean Phillips' art page, and he has this print of Bogart, but he doesn't have Cagney on there. And so I just sent him an email just to see if I could engage with him and asked him if he had that as a print that I could buy. And he said, no, I don't, but I really appreciate the fact that you like it. And he sent me the source artwork for it. And I said, you know, how much do you want? I want to pay you for this. And he says, no, I don't want anything. And so I ended up making a donation to the Hero Initiative in his name. But I started a dialogue with him.
Cool. Wow. So he sent you like a digital file?
Yeah, he sent me the digital source file so that I can make the print myself.
I guess he works digitally now. He doesn't work on paper. which
Oh, really?
kind of threw me when I saw him saying that,
Yeah.
because it looks so physical.
Oh, it does. I mean, it looks painted. It really does
Mhm.
in a lot of cases. But it ends up turning out that he's a really good guy, and I really enjoyed being able to engage with him, and I can't wait to meet him because I'm going to have that print. I'm going to have him sign it once I get to,
Mhm.
and hopefully he'll be at Rose City soon, something like that,
Yeah, yeah. I think
But
he's British, but I assume he comes over to U.S. cons every now and then.
sure.
Um, yeah, I find his art very addictive. Like, I just find myself craving more Sean Phillips art.
For
And he
sure.
does have, he has an art book, The Art of Sean Phillips, which I have somewhere in another room, but I'll
I
have to break
find
that
that
out
his
sometime.
I find that his facial expressions are kind of what makes a lot of it. Some of the facial expressions really do set the tone and mood, but also the same way it evokes.
Yeah.
And it draws me in. I'm right there with it, and so well done. So that's one of those things where it's like, I've read those 12 issues, and I know that's the last run that they did. I'm going to take my time going through those other issues because
Yeah, there's a lot of good material there that you have to look forward to.
for sure, for sure. And so yeah, I'm kind of mad that I didn't get to hop on it before, but I'm so glad that I found it now.
Yeah, yeah. And luckily, it doesn't have to be read in order, so you're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, for sure. I guess there's some tie-ins to other stories, from this one. So, but because of the way he writes it, you don't have to really, read it from beginning to end. You can hop into it
Right.
whenever you want. So
It's
that's
kind of a tapestry of stories that are interconnected and have been written at different times about different time periods in these people's lives.
sure. Well, in this last run, there were two stories, and one of them had to do with some comic book artwork. That was an amazing story.
That was.
I think I'm going to collect that in a trade just to hand
Uh,
out to people. You got to see this.
and I don't know if you've seen pictures of Gil Kane, but that guy didn't quite look like Gil Kane, but he was close enough.
Uh-huh.
And there are apocryphal stories that Gil Kane used to steal other people's original art from the Marvel
Really?
vaults to try to sell them when he was low on money.
Oh, that makes
So
me better.
I wonder if there's more, some other nonfiction bits in there that Brubaker knows about that,
From what
that
I
he wouldn't tell us
understand,
fans. But
from what I understand, there's a ton of bits that are actually pulled from actual real stuff. So
yeah, yeah.
so good, so good. So yeah, so I got to read Criminal. What else did I read digitally? I read sitting on Brubaker. I went back and did the Immortal Iron Fist. I went back and read those, that was a great run. DC stuff. I read some DC. Oh yeah, I went back and I finally got and read the Court of Owls, which I really enjoyed. I had never actually had read that. I know that I pretty much know the story, but I had never actually read it, and so it was kind of good
Oh, that's good
to go back
stuff.
and do the Scott Snyder and
And did you read that digitally or physically?
that was digitally. That was digitally.
And there's one issue where you have to turn the pages upside
Right.
down. Did they do that digitally? Did they leave them upside down, or did you have to, or did
Um,
you not see that going around?
no, I think I turned it myself.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and but and then which kind of funny you mentioned that because that kind of sparked me to go pick up Watchmen.
Uh-huh.
Because it reminded me of that issue where you go from front, the beginning, and it ends up back at the beginning at the end. And so, when I was done reading Court of Owls, I hit the Watchmen up, and so I've been reading a smattering of stuff.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've been getting very productive in your comic book reading.
And what's amazing is yes, that's true. But I've also been very productive on my movie watching. I've been very productive on my video game playing. And so, how about you? Do you do the movie thing? Do you watch movies, TV?
I just watch TV shows with my daughter, so because she's an only child, so she won't feel lonely. So watching Hannah Montana and things like that. So I haven't watched much adult stuff.
So
I do, going back to like you reading Criminal. I read several, and I don't know if I was the one who encouraged you to read Criminal or not, but I read several series that I'd been grabbing after hearing you talk about them, but hadn't had time to read them before. So I read the first 5 issues of Folklords.
Wow.
And loved them. Although I have to say the 5th issue was a bit odd.
Yeah.
And like I totally loved the first 4 issues, and then I think it's the 5th issue was the last one that came out. Yeah, where they meet one of the Folklords who is either an author or someone pretending to be a writer, and then I don't know. It was just a little weird. Do you recall issue 5?
No, actually, I know that you have read Folklords, and what's the other one?
And the other one I grabbed because of you and have already read is, and just read recently, was Killock.
Killock. Okay, so here's the thing. Both those issues were actually the last comic book day that would have come out. And Tifa ended up shutting down on a Monday. And I never got my comics for that Wednesday.
Whereas my slightly dishonest guy kept his shop open until Wednesday, even though I wasn't legally supposed to.
And so what's funny about that is that, I've been waiting for this whole thing to lift so that at least I knew I had that comic book day worth of books that I would get in my box. But I just found out this morning that that's not true, that they're not actually going to fill the boxes with those comics. I guess it was announced. I never saw it, but they actually said that all those comics are available online to order if I want them. So I had to go back in and order those comics through the TFI website. I was kind of miffed about it, but at least I'm going to get them. So
did they give you your discount?
Yeah, online? I still got the discount.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. But, I actually ordered quite a bit of comics from Tifa just because I realized, hey, I want to have lots of comics. So I went online and looked and said, well, here's some other ones that I haven't read yet, but now that I have extra time, maybe I'll pick up those too. So sure. I might have gotten the 5th Folklords from them.
Oh, nice.
But I got Killock from my shop. Killock was a really unusual comic. I mean, I don't think I've ever read a comic book like this before, really. Although I could picture it in an old heavy metal or something.
I could see that. So on the 5th issue, did they land the plane? Did it end well?
The 5th issue of Killock?
Yeah.
For Killock, I've only got up to 4.
Oh, okay.
I think that's all that come out. And it said in the first issue it's going to be a 6-issue story.
Oh, so it is 6 issues. Okay.
So we've had some interesting twists. But I won't say anything about issue 4 then. But I don't even know how to think about Killock.
Yeah,
it's all these robots, but they can die.
Yeah,
and they can bleed, sort of, and they can be alcoholics.
Right.
But there's no living creatures. The whole universe is all robots, which is just It's really cool and really wacky. And also, it's so, I shouldn't open number 4, but it's so heavily painted.
Yes.
I haven't read many. I've read like, what's his face? Alex Ross and kind of thing. But this is like being inside a video game about robots, I guess.
Sure.
A very immersive video game. So I like that it's so unique, at least to my reading experience. But sometimes I get a little lost in the pictures and such. And also, if you notice, like on the dialogue balloons really pop, they don't meld into the art at all.
Right.
Anyway, I'm getting a great kick out of it, but I just sort of thinking about what a unusual read it is.
It really is, but as unusual as it is, I've been enjoying it immensely. I love how they've definitely, with the little bit that they've brought the characterization out of each of those 4 personalities in those robots. Besides, building a world and telling a story at the same time. And I've really enjoyed it. I think the artist is also the writer, right?
Yes, he is. And I've never heard of him before. I guess he's worked on Transformers and such. His name is Livio Romandelli or something like that. Yeah. But I think he lives in LA because the letter in the first issue was signed LA. I wonder if he works in animation or the video game industry or something.
But you're right. I mean, the artwork is very immersive, but there's some pieces in there that are very cinematic that I've just really
Yes.
enjoyed. So it's good stuff.
And I'm going to be sad that it's only 6 issues because I want to learn more about this world, like these kind of, I forget what they call them, but these crusader kind of robots who go around
Yes.
cleansing planets.
Right.
What exactly is their religion, and why? What's the point of all of this?
Because it kind of gives like a Templar knight feel.
Right. That's exactly what they are, like Templar knights. So they're both kind of noble and horrifying at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that it's successful enough for them to go forward with more, because I'm the same way. I want to see more about it for sure.
Yeah. But Folklords was amazing. I for the first 4 issues, I was saying, well, this could be like my second favorite comic after Ice Cream Man.
Uh-huh.
But issue 5 was a little bit of a letdown for me. So.
Okay.
But it may pick back up.
Sure. Well, I definitely like that. Was Matt Kent, right?
Yeah, that was Matt Kent.
Yeah.
Who I appreciate more and more with every comic he does, I think.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would agree with that. Anything else that you've been reading? All right, anything else that you've picked up? I know that.
Yes. So one thing you may have heard about this company, TKO Studios.
Oh, yeah.
And when the comic book drought began, they said they would give 50% of, if you ordered online, they'd give 50% of the money to your comic book shop.
Oh, wow.
So I ordered 2 of them. This one is I haven't read it yet. Sentient by Jeff Lemire. And they're kind of on the binge model. They put out all the issues at once, and you can order them in this box set. So let's see. It's like this. And there's the comics inside. Oops. There's the comics inside.
Oh, wow.
And the art is by Gabriel Walta, who did the art in The Vision with Tom King.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't read. I'm pretty excited to read it, but I haven't gotten around to it. So
Nice.
TKO is one of these stranger new companies who's trying to do something in a very different way. And when I went to their website, I was surprised that even my tiny comic shop was in their drop-down list of who you want the money to go to. Because ironically, when I asked my comic book shop to order some TKO books, he had no idea what they were or how to order them, because they don't go through Diamond.
Oh, okay.
But they can be ordered by shops.
So they do solely their own distribution then.
They do their own distribution. Yeah. And talking about Marvel, I wondered if Marvel, with all its economic might, would start doing its own distribution.
That's what I was thinking, but again, we haven't heard anything, and so I've been really, really surprised at the silence, I guess you could say.
The other part of it is the printing presses. Are they open?
Oh, that's a good point as well.
I think that most comic books are printed in Canada,
right?
And most, at least the hardbacks, I'm not sure about the paperback trades, are printed in China. So that could cause quite a bit of issues, I would think.
Yeah,
especially the China piece.
Interesting. By the way, I just wanted to mention, I love your T-shirt, man. I've never seen one of those. That is awesome.
Okay, so there's a comic book letterer named Pat Brousseau, and I follow him on Twitter, and he's a letterer on a lot of comics. And so he started putting out a whole line of T-shirts. This is just one example. Like I have another one that goes boom, and I have one that has cartoon curse words, like all the symbols instead of curse words, and a word balloon arrow pointing up towards the wearer of the shirt. And so that's another one of my sort of online purchases, supporting comic book people.
Nice.
Another thing that's out there that I've been meaning to look at is Brubaker has a new comic out. What's the name of the company? Sort of a company that Brian K. Vaughan started, where you pay whatever you want for digital copies of these comics that only come out digitally. Mm-hmm. Dang, I can't remember the name of the Brubaker thing, but anyway, that's a thing to look into that I've been meaning to look into when I have the time.
Interesting. Now I know that you have acquired some books in the last few days from a friend, and
Yes.
for myself, I have. I'm gonna let you show your books. 'Cause I'm really excited to see them. Really quick, I'm just going to show the few things that I've gotten, um, and because I haven't acquired much in the last couple of days, but I did get this Spawn number 224 homage cover.
Oh, quite the
And
homage.
there's a few of these homage covers that I'm looking for.
Who did McFarlane draw that cover? Do you know?
Yeah,
Or
probably did
okay.
the Frank Miller kind of grab.
Right.
Um, I've been doing a lot of collecting of Bullseye stuff, and here's one that I've never received before, but I got all 5 issues of Hawkeye Dark Reign,
Oh, I didn't even realize there was a Hawkeye Dark Reign.
and of course that's when Bullseye, became Hawkeye for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I
Oh,
should have.
really?
I probably did know that at one point, but I forgot.
The Dark Avengers, he ended up, becoming the Hawkeye of the Avengers.
I
And
did
so
read some Dark Avengers. Yeah, I should have remembered.
I got all 5 issues of those, and then the
Oh,
one
Lincoln.
is I was very happy to get this one because even though it's not worth a lot, this is a grail for me. But this is Astonishing Tales number 8, and
Ooh,
that's
nice cover.
Gene Colan goodness in it. But this issue is the first telling of the fact that Doctor Doom once a year, every year, goes to hell to fight for his mom's soul. And that is the driving force in his life, as you know. And this is the first time that it was told, and so I've never had a copy of it, and so I ended up getting it. So yeah, not much. I haven't been being able to get out and do much, but I got a couple of those online, so that was it. But I want to hear what you got, man. What'd you
Okay,
show?
so as some people know from watching my channel, a friend of mine sent 2 short boxes full of comic books from a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I have not shown the Daredevils he sent me yet. So I thought on Bob's channel would be a great place to do that.
Yeah.
So maybe 1 or 2 of these got shown in the first video I did with my daughter, but the rest haven't been. So the earliest one was Daredevil number 25 with the leapfrog. I assume these are going to be Gene Colan inside. It looks like a Gene Colan cover to me.
For sure.
And 26, the Stilt Man, back when he was taken seriously. Oh, and more Stilt Man on number 27.
Yeah.
I've got to put these in Mylar soon. Yeah, who else? We got the Masked Marauder and Spider-Man. Matt Murdock Must Die.
Can't go wrong with that.
And number 28, Thou Shalt Not Cover Thy Neighbor's Planet. I have never read this one because I don't recall anything about planets in Daredevil.
Yeah, every once in a while he gets a little.
I'm curious about that. Number 29, The Man Without Fear Unmasked.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Those could be some characters from Criminal there.
Probably. I remember that one though.
Number 30, with the Mighty Thor. I like that cover a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who did that. Could be Gene Colan or it could be someone else. Sometimes it's hard for me to recognize the styles.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's some of my favorites because it's Doctor Doom in Daredevil. Yeah. Number 37. And that's a great cover. And it continues in number 38, which is also an amazing cover.
Yeah.
Living Prison.
Absolutely.
Number 44.
Oh, nice.
Is that the Jester, I suppose?
Jester, yeah.
I Murderer. Oh, and here's the number 45. A rare photo cover. You don't see those too often. Number 49. You probably have all of these. Do you have, or did you?
I don't.
Not reclaim. You probably had a Daredevil collection which you sold back in the day.
Exactly. So now I'm going back through and recollecting. So I think I have 4 of the ones you've shown so far.
And if you get them in, you can get reader copies pretty affordably in Daredevil, I think. Yeah. Until you get to the really early issues.
For sure.
Who's he fighting here? I don't even recognize this guy.
Let me get my glasses on. I can't see.
Or maybe the video quality is not good enough.
I can't tell. I want to say Leapfrog, but I can't.
This cover has no blurbs on it, which is unusual. Yeah, he looks a bit like Leapfrog, but the close-up of his face is kind of. I'm going to look inside.
All right.
What I do. It doesn't say inside. It is. Oh, that's a cool splash page there.
Nice.
Seems very Will Eisner-ish. Yeah. Well, this guy's purple on the inside. I don't know who he is.
Interesting.
Oh, well, I'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
Number 50. That might be the same guy on the cover.
Kind of looks like it.
If in battle I fail. Very Stan Lee titles.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is kind of a classic cover. I've seen this, and I think I've seen people imitate that cover.
Yeah, that was the retelling of his origin.
Number 54.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm as excited, or maybe even, I don't know. It's a close call whether I'm more excited about all the Spider-Man my friend sent me or all the Daredevil.
There you go.
There's also some good Fantastic Four that he sent me.
I remember that one as well. It was he faced off against Mr. Fear.
Oh, right. The Man Without Fear against Mr. Fear. That's a great concept. Oh, wow. This cover's intense. Death's Head.
Oh,
I don't remember that villain either.
Yeah, I don't remember who the villain was. But
I think the villain may be Death's Head, but
Rogue Gallery.
Oh, Unmasked at Last. These unmaskings never stick.
Yeah.
And number 58, the Stunt Master.
Oh, yeah.
And the Torpedo.
The Torpedo. That's another one. Another forgettable throw.
A lot of has-been villains over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Showdown at Sea. I don't even know who that. If there's a villain in the distance. Unmasked, the Man Called Crime Wave.
Crime Wave. Yeah, I remember reading it, but I don't remember it being very memorable.
If you want the police to catch you, name yourself Crime Wave. Number 69 with Black Panther in there.
Yep.
What did you think when they had Black Panther take over for Daredevil? That always felt weird to me.
There was a couple of times, where people have taken over for him. I think the only one that I enjoyed was where he was in prison, and so because everybody knew that Matt Murdock was Daredevil. That's kind of right. And then on the street while he was in prison, Daredevil's on the street. And there was kind of a running thing going on for a while that you didn't know who it was. And when he finally got let out of prison, he had a confrontation with this other Daredevil, and he raised his fist and it started glowing yellow. And I was like, oh, Danny Rand. Who,
and you're about to read some Iron Fist, right? You said.
Yeah.
City of Turmoil, City in Flame, number 70.
Yeah.
And I'm almost done here. Number 71.
I can't see who that is. Looks like Mr. Fear, but I can't.
Is that what Mr. Fear looks like?
No. Well, more of a I can't tell.
He's being a judge and jury, I guess. And number 72 with the Leopard Lord, another one you don't hear from too often anymore.
A lot of one and dones.
Yes. Maybe that's part of Frank Miller's genius was finding the right bad guys for the Daredevil.
For sure.
The Sinister Zodiac.
Nice.
Number 73.
I
have a few more, but I thought I'd stop there. That's a lot.
It's okay. I love it. There's something about those Silver Age covers that every time I see them, they evoke a lot of emotion to me, and so I really enjoy them. And,
they have a special personality to them, and
absolutely
you don't see anymore. So it's exciting to get a hold of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So going forward, I mean, what do you have on your docket as far as what you're looking for to read?
Well, I have some other things that I snatched up a bunch of issues of. Like I knew you were saying good things about Detective, so I grabbed a whole bunch of Detective, from the recent run Detective issues that I'll be working on when I get a chance. And I wish I had brought more of the comics in front of me. I'm trying to think. There's a number of things like that where I'm just going back 6 months and then reading ahead. And as I said, I'm reading one of those old Chris Claremont X-Men a day. And that seems. What are in your plans?
So besides, getting to Secret Wars,
Oh, right. That'll keep you busy all on its own, all those Avengers.
For a bit anyway. One of the other ones that I've started that I'm looking forward to getting back to, I only read the first 2 issues and I was very intrigued by it, was Oblivion Song, which I had never read before. And then also on Hoopla, I noticed that East West is there. I think that's what it's called.
East of West, I think.
East of West, there we go. And I'd never had to read that, so I'm looking forward to diving into that. And then I still have the last 10 or so issues of Saga to finish up, and then I'm completely all caught up with that. And so those are pretty much what I have on my list for the next week or so. That should keep me busy, right? But I'm really looking forward to getting back to New Comic Book Day, Damien.
Yeah. Well, there's something fun, every Wednesday. It just gives your week a little extra zing every Wednesday to go. And not having it makes me appreciate it more.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I like to complain about the cost of comics, but suddenly when I think I can't get any, I'm willing to pay more money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like these TKO ones are cool, but they're not cheap. I think this set cost me $30.
Oh, really?
Discount on it or anything?
I think it's kind of cool that you can collect them all at once.
Yeah. It's an interesting approach, anyway.
For sure. It's kind of nice to know that that they're not tied down to Diamond either. We can, and they got Lemire, so obviously they've got some good talent there.
Right. I've been thinking that, like some things I really like reading in a trade, and something, I definitely have different things. Like some are good on digital, some are best read once a month, and you have that long time to sort of let the story filter through your brain before you get the next chapter.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. You had mentioned something earlier about reading X-Men that way. Right. Month to month, and that's something that I've long held to be true. A lot of people really laud the Dark Phoenix saga, and when I went back and read it just as one full story, I was not as impacted by it as I was when it came out month to month. When it came out month to month, it was stellar. It was something that I'll never forget. And I know that most people who read it nowadays read it just as one full story, and I shudder to think that they're not getting the full effect of what it really truly was like.
Yeah.
And so I fully agree with you on that. I think some are definitely better read month to month, or at least with a break in between.
And I was thinking of that when you read Kaiju Max, and I was raving about Kaiju Max, but those 12 issues that you read, I probably read over a 2-year period. Because I think he put out 6 issues as season 1, and then there was a break, and then he put out 6 more issues, and so it has a very different effect.
For sure,
a lot of modern comics are written for the trade, but when they aren't, it's kind of weird to read them all together like that.
Yeah, and that's one that definitely. I loved it. It was great. It had so many tropes inside, especially in the way it's collected in that book. I really enjoyed a lot of what the author did as far as showing.
Got his little footnotes, which
I love that. I loved it. But as far as it being a full complete story, reading it all at once, it kind of got a little one note in some areas. Yeah. And taking a break from it and then coming back to it, I think would have been much better. Still great, but I think I would have enjoyed it more if I would have had a break in between, for sure.
Yeah, because it was more like variations on a theme rather than a story with a story arc and progression. There were some progressions, but but there was a lot of repetition there too, which I
Right.
didn't notice when I read it month to month.
For sure. Now, it's an overarching theme with a lot of different prison tropes and
Yes,
Kinkai
a lot.
tropes, but I think I ended up really enjoying, looking at his footnotes and seeing where he was drawing inspiration from and some of the things he was trying to do with it, and even some of the panel angles that he was going for, understanding, what he was trying to produce with that. I really enjoyed that. Definitely.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about that. Which things should I binge read and which things should I not binge read?
Yeah.
And this time when we're more likely to binge read has made me think about that more. So thus the way I'm reading the X-Men, and like that Emerald Dawn that I'm reading, you can binge read that pretty well. It is all one story, even though it's a comic from 1989.
Sure. That's awesome stuff. Well, Damien, it's almost time for me to get some food in my stomach.
Oh, yeah, I'm not dinner yet.
But I want to let you know, I want to thank you very much for coming on tonight. I love just being able to talk to you, hang out with you for a little bit, catching up with you. And I miss you, man.
I miss you too. I miss getting together in person. Is just can't be beat. So soon, well, we don't know when, but soon it will be my turn to host the roundtable of the Heartland's Comic Crew, and so hopefully we will do that not too far in the future.
Yeah,
and I want to make it a kind of a comic book cover palooza where we all share favorite covers of different eras and talk about what we like and don't like about covers and that kind of thing. So
I think that's a fantastic idea. Absolutely. I don't think things are starting to loosen up a little bit. I know that Bueller and I, this next Sunday, we are going to return to the Coffee and Comic Show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You're going to brave being in each other's breath.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess I can just, go like this while he's talking.
I'm sure it'll be fine since you've both been well isolated for a long time.
For sure. And but there's some things that are starting to loosen up, and so we're going to do that this Sunday. We're looking forward to that. And then as soon as we start,
divulge to us, or is that still under wraps?
Say that again.
Usually, you guys have like a theme or a question of each show.
I think in this show, it's going to be us catching up with each other, and kind of going that route, and then talking about what we're going to be doing going forward. But it'll be fun for sure. I'm just like with you. I mean, I have not seen him since the last Coffee and Comic Show that we filmed. I think he was even mentioning that in the chat. So it's been a little while. I haven't. Same with you. I have not actually been face to face with you for a while. So.
Well, and you and Bueller are a tight team, at least on that show. So
well, at least weekly we are.
You're really used to working together, so that must be even more of a good thing to get you back together. I'm hoping to invite Sam onto I haven't told him this yet, but maybe he's still watching. I'm hoping to invite Sam onto a hangout with me and hoping to get him to talk about Sal Buscema with me.
Oh, nice.
Share our Sal Buscema love.
For sure. I love both John and Sal. So
they're both great. Yeah, I know.
For sure. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing that. And then as soon as they start, doing an actual new comic book day, and we got some new content, I can always go over to the Refuge and film, because it's business purposes. And as long as I'm not going up to the counter and I'm just sitting at a table by myself, I can film there. And so I may end up doing that a little sooner than later. We'll see what happens. But
well, and if they do open up again, we should definitely, go hang out there on a Wednesday evening again. That was absolutely, we got to do that once, and that was really cool.
Right. Now we're good times are coming, Damien. We'll definitely get back together and be able to kibitz like we normally do. But so I just want to say that I miss you, man. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Is there anything else that you want to talk? You want to say something about your channel, or let our viewers know what's going on with you?
Well, I think I will next Tuesday do a 8th anniversary episode, and I think I'm going to ask people to send me questions. So I'll probably post a video up about that in a day or two. But if anybody wants me to ask. I'll answer anything to the best of my ability. And if it's too personal, I'll just tell you that. But
there we go. That's awesome stuff. Well, I'll be looking forward to that for sure, and I'll definitely throw some questions in the bucket myself.
Okay, thanks.
For myself, because of the fact that this is kind of drug out longer than I ever expected. Things kind of slowed down as far as getting new subscribers because of this whole thing. Actually, my first coffee and comic show that I have, when New Comic Book Day comes, I'm going to actually do our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. And so stay tuned for that. If you've already entered, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything, but I'll be announcing the winners on my next coffee and comic show when it starts back up. And of course, that'll also include the giveaway from YC Comics, who has partnered with me on that,
cool.
And from Nick. And so I'm looking forward to that. But a lot of comic stuff on the horizon. We just don't know how it's going to play out yet. Yeah. And but in any case, whether we get new comic books or not, I've made a lot of great comic book friends, and you are one of those, my friend. And so I really appreciate you. And thank you very much for coming on tonight, buddy.
It's been great.
All right. Hey, you guys, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. And as always, remember to support your local comic shop, even though they're not running right now. Still support your local comic shop, and Excelsior, guys. Y'all take care.